Welcome everyone. We're going to give everyone a minute or two to log on and join. Thank you for joining us though today, and we'll get started here in a bit. Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining. We're going to give everyone maybe 30 more seconds chance to sign in and everything, and then we'll get started. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Good afternoon now officially, everyone. My name is Brian Doran. I am here at TEA in the Office of School Programs, and we're excited to kick off the Summer Learning Framework webinar specific to Zearn. So we have been going through a series of webinars with the Summer Learning Framework to talk through all things summer learning. And a key component of that is the instructional piece. And so the Summer Learning Framework itself has three components. First is a statewide webinar series. This is officially part of that. We also have a suite of planning resources, tools, and templates available at texashomeLearning.org/summer for districts to use as they see fit. And then the third key piece here is through Texas Home Learning, we have summer units available from Texas Home Learning publishers. And these are high quality instructional material solutions developed specifically for summer of 21. And that is what we're here today to talk through. We also, as part of this Texas Home Learning summer unit, we have a kind of double click opportunity for districts where we have a suite of additional support materials and stipends available through a program called CRIMSI. I'll talk through that a bit here in a second. And so CRIMSI itself is the COVID Recovery Instructional Materials Support Initiative. CRIMSI is a much more fun thing to say than the entire name. But this recent application cycle, we have three opportunities. The first is spring adoption coaching for districts. And this is if you are looking to adopt or considering adopting Texas Home Learning materials for the 21-22 school year. This would be additional coaching support to think through all the implications and think through if this is a right fit and what the best options would be for you. If you're interested in that, we encourage you to apply by April 9th. The second option is a summer pilot. And so this would be if you are looking to use any of the Texas Home Learning materials, the summer unit from those materials in a pilot this summer of 2021. And through this, you'll receive some additional planning and implementation support. And we have an application also open right now with a deadline of April 9th. The CRIMSI summer kind of benefits here. We have printed materials that are available for many of the summer units. We have professional development support for teachers and administration. And we also have stipends that are available for educators who are participating and giving us feedback on the process and implementing the materials with fidelity. So stipend requirements, participating teachers would pilot the materials in summer school. They would attend upfront onboarding and professional learning. They would participate in ongoing coaching cycles, and then that feedback piece of providing feedback to us on that process. So encourage you to take a look at this CRIMSI summer pilot. I do want to underscore though, CRIMSI itself is a double click of THL summer learning. You can do any of the Texas Home Learning products. You can implement their summer learning units on your own without this additional CRIMSI component. But we do encourage you to take a look if it seems like it might be a good fit for you. And then the third opportunity that we currently have open for Crimsy is a full year pilot for the 21-22 school year. This would be a more long-term support where you're looking to pilot a full year-long curriculum of one of the publishers. And that application is open now until June 11th or until the capacity is full. So you can learn more about these opportunities with Crimsy at texashomelearning.org/Crimsy. And as well as reaching out to the Texas Home Learning email address at texashomelearning@tea.texas.gov. And I'll pop those into the chat here in a bit. The Summer Learning Framework, we are in the middle of the Summer Learning Framework webinar series. So design and implementation was all last week. We had 4 sessions that those recordings are now all available at texashomelearning.org/summer. This week, we're focusing on academics and enrichment, and we are currently here, Math K-5 Digital Companion, talking with Zearn today. Additionally, this week we are talking through operations, so if you are interested on the operational side as well for all things summer learning, encourage you to take a look. We have scheduling tomorrow and summer site operations on Thursday. As you're going through your summer learning planning process, encourage you to take a look at a work plan tool that we have available at texashomelearning.org. And this is meant to be a comprehensive kind of things to take care of in the next couple months while you're considering everything, the final push for summer learning in 21. So we are talking specifically in the high quality instructional materials category, but we have supports and project planning components and milestones for the other 9 categories as well. So that can be found at texashomelearning.org/summer, or there's a direct link with a bit.ly here at the top as well. We will be both posting this recording as well as links to these slides on the texashomelearning.org/summer website. So you can take a look at those as well after the fact. And without further ado, let's get to, I'd love to introduce the folks from Zearn. We have Ashley Bursit. I should have checked this last name before saying it. We have Ashley, Corinne, and Carolina here from the Zearn team, and are excited to learn more about their programming. And I will just go ahead and turn it over to you all.
Great. Thanks so much, Brian. We're so thrilled to be here. Thank you so much for the time and opportunity. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and just to preserve bandwidth, I'm going to turn off my video. So here we go. Make sure that comes through properly. Brian, did it work?
Yes, looks good. It's perfect. In the PowerPoint view though, so yeah, there we go.
Thank you so much. So as Brian mentioned, I'm Corinne. I lead our partnerships team here at Zearn, and we work really closely with partner schools and districts to implement Zearn Math. Before joining Zearn, I was the principal of an elementary school. And today I want to share our approach, the summer intensive series content and resources, and dive into a digital lesson to experience our interactive math manipulatives and digital lessons, and the personalized boosts that launch precisely when kids need them. We'll then explore how some of our partners are using our summer intensive series in their school and district summer programs. And just as a quick note, please feel free to ask questions in the chat if you have them as we go through. So just a quick introduction to Zearn for those who weren't able to join our webinar a few weeks ago. Zearn is a nonprofit, and we created Zearn Math, a comprehensive math program that supports a range of instructional needs. And Zearn Math for Texas is designed to sit alongside Eureka Math TEKS Edition as a digital companion. So Zearn Math's resources incorporate adaptive technology to create a more personalized and feedback-rich and flexible approach to instruction. Our digital resources follow the same instructional progression and objectives for every module in Eureka Math TEKS Edition. For example, Zearn's digital resources for Grade 3 Mission 1 are aligned to the same math instruction as Grade 3 Module 1 in Eureka Math TEKS Edition. So at Zearn, right now, our focus is on recovery and accelerating learning for all kids. And that's why we built the Summer Intensive Series as part of our Learning Recovery program. The Summer Intensive Series leverages our vast data set of over 7.5 billion problems completed in our digital lessons to identify the essential math content of each grade and ensure that rising 1st through 8th graders are ready for grade level learning this fall. We're uniquely positioned to help with summer school programs because we have an online digital platform that can be accessed 24/7 from anywhere. Our platform delivers high quality digital math lessons for students to work through independently. And each lesson is interactive and adaptive and includes fluency, concept development, and independent practice. Our digital lessons also include an embedded daily diagnostic to frequently assess student understanding and launch support right when students need it. And we'll see that in a minute when we look at a lesson together. And our summer series includes instructional resources that can be used by teachers and tutors when working with students in a whole class or small group format. And in addition, our materials qualify for the recently released federal ESSER funds. Most importantly, we'll get into specific examples of summer school models in just a bit. Our summer intensive series materials can be used flexibly. They can be used in a class setting, whether in person or virtual, with face-to-face live instruction, and they can also be used in an asynchronous model with students and families that will be at home and not in a traditional summer school. So let's turn our attention to digital lessons for a moment, and specifically how they support students. For those of you that may have joined our last webinar, this will be a quick review. Our digital lessons incorporate increasing levels of foundational support as students show that they need it. So first, all students experience the supportive pathways to grade level content using concrete and pictorial representations. And as students may struggle in grade level work, digital lessons launch scaffolded support from previous grade levels. And this is automatically embedded into grade level lessons. If students continue to struggle or have clear unfinished learnings from prior years, teachers receive tailored recommendations on foundational lessons from earlier grades for students to work on for additional acceleration. This may be a few targeted lessons or entire units, depending on the student's gaps. Essentially, Zearn is based on a layered approach that incorporates increasing foundational support as students show they need it. But what makes us really different is that we designed Zearn Math to be a coherent experience where all levels of acceleration and support are connected and aligned to Eureka Math Takes Edition. So let's talk a bit more about the digital lesson structure. We're going to dive into a digital lesson example next. So to frame what we'll see, these are the components of a Zearn Math digital lesson. The first component is fluency. Fluency activities are designed to reinforce critical number sense skills, build automaticity with previously learned concepts, or act as an on-ramp to upcoming content. Every grade 1 through 5 lesson has 2 opening fluency activities, one adaptive and one grade level. And K includes 170 digital activities focused on building number sense. The second part of the digital lessons is guided practice. This is essentially a digital version of the daily lesson. So here, students engage with an on-camera teacher and interactive checkpoints that include digital manipulatives and personalized acceleration pathways. And the last component is independent practice, or a digital exit ticket, where students show understanding of the lesson's objective. And if a student struggles, they receive additional acceleration pathways. So let's take a look at a lesson from grade 3. We're going to jump into the heart of the lesson here as I navigate to the website. In the guided practice. So this is where students engage with instruction that feels similar to the daily lesson. And prior to this activity, students would have worked through 2 fluency activities, but I skipped those just for the sake of time today. So let's dive in and take a look.
Hey there, mathematician. Let's get started with a word problem. Read this problem and imagine what's happening.
So this activity is called a math chat, and it's designed to resemble a small group setting where students learn with their on-camera teacher. As students engage in guided practice, they complete checkpoints like this one, which give them opportunities to build and construct their math in a variety of ways and receive feedback and support if they need it. So in this first checkpoint, students are invited to break down this problem, identifying the known and unknown information. So here they know the total number of fish, and they know the number of fish in each tank, but they don't yet know the number of tanks. And then they have a chance to process that with the numbers from the problem. So there's 20 total fish and 5 fish in each tank. You'll notice as we work through the digital lesson that there's audio prompt buttons throughout, so students can have the text read to them as they work independently.
Kayla?
We know there are 20 total fish, and 5 fish can fit in each tank. We're trying to find out how many tanks they'll need for all 20 fish.
You got it. Here is one tank. Let's start by putting 5 fish in this tank. Keep going. Put 5 fish in each tank until all fish are in a tank.
So during the digital lessons, students visualize problems with animations like these fish and construct their own visual models using interactive digital manipulatives. So for this problem as a student, I'd build another tank and I add 5 fish to it. I'd build another tank and add 5 fish until all my fish are in a tank. And by doing this, I have the opportunity to explore this new concept with concrete work and really understand the concept in an intuitive way, really similar to the teacher-led instruction.
I'll put 5 fish in each tank like this. Let's write a multiplication equation that represents our picture. I'll write a question mark for our unknown, the number of groups. What is the size of each group? What is the total? Go ahead. Fill in the multiplication equation.
So in this third checkpoint, students move to representing the known parts of the problem in a multiplication equation, just as they did during, or would have done with their teacher in the teacher-led lesson. So here I know that there are 5 fish in each tank and 20 total.
The number of groups is our unknown. There are 5 fish in each tank, or group, and 20 total fish. Now, write a division sentence to match this picture. Use your multiplication equation to help. What's the total? And how many fish are in each group?
So here, students move to writing a division equation to match the picture, but let me just pause for a moment and point out a few other things. I'm going to go ahead and complete this and then get back into the video, and we'll pause.
Ethan?
So first, as you may have noticed, all the blue circles here along the bottom represent a checkpoint where students are stopping and engaging with the activity. So our video lessons stop often to check for understanding, just like teachers do in their live instruction. And in each checkpoint, students are asked to represent their math in different ways, all connected to how students represent their math during the daily lesson with their teacher. And students are required to engage in every single interactive task, and they get supportive feedback if they need it in order to progress in the lesson. I want to move to another problem to see a different way that students engage with the lesson. So in addition to this digital representations that we've already started to see in these first few checkpoints, the lesson will also prompt students to transfer their learning to paper using student notes. So let's take a look at one of those checkpoints. One quick note, I'm able to bypass a few checkpoints to get to the notes checkpoint because I'm showing this to you from a teacher account, but students cannot bypass checkpoints when they're working independently. They must engage in every checkpoint.
Let's solve this next problem in your notes. Today, we're working on Mission 1, Lesson 6. Ethan puts away 15 books for literacy class. There are 3 shelves, and he puts the same number of books on each shelf. Draw an array that represents this problem. Use a circle to represent each book.
So this time students are prompted to solve the problem in their notes. Here's what the prompt looks like on the screen for them. And then this is what it looks like on paper. So you'll notice it's virtually identical to make it really easy for students to transfer between the two formats. And the purpose of the paper component is to give students a chance to draw their math and represent their thinking in different ways, while also supporting transfer and retention. So after students work through this problem in their notes, for example, here, students are prompted to draw an array and solve. Students will then keep working through the digital activity where they're prompted to check and revise their own work. And you'll notice this paper component, just like the rest of our materials, is really well organized and designed to engage students in representing their math on paper. So let's take a look at one more problem. Here where students are working with arrays, which again is similar to the lesson they would see with their teacher. So I'll press play and then jump us ahead one more time.
There are 15 total books. Kayla decorated her notebook with stickers. She arranged 21 stickers into rows of 3. Create an array to represent the problem. Remember, there are 3 stickers in each row.
So here again, students are working with a digital manipulative to visualize the problem, this time a little more pictorially as I represent the stickers in rows. You'll notice that I'm getting a little less scaffolding here than I did in that first problem. So let's say I struggle. Instead of doing all 7 rows, I just do 3 rows of 3. When I enter that answer, you see I get feedback and a chance to try again. Let's say I still struggle. When I enter the wrong answer a second time in a row, I'm going to now receive scaffolded support to help break down this problem. So here, it's first helping me think about what one row of 3 stickers would look like, and then provide support with how my array should look. So instead of having that larger set of dots, now I have the exact number of dots that I need in order to complete my array with all rows of 3 up to 21 stickers. Once I complete that more targeted array, I then have a chance to process one more time that I should use all 21 stickers total. Keep in mind that this additional scaffolding that we just saw and I received was specific to my struggle. So another student who completed the initial array successfully would not have received that support and instead would have moved right along to the next set of questions where students relate their array to multiplication and division equations.
Kayla arranged 21 stickers into rows of 3 like this. Complete the division equation and the multiplication equation to represent this array.
So we're going to pause there for a moment. One last really unique aspect of the digital lesson that I wanted to highlight is, as I mentioned earlier, we focus on how the learning experience on Zearn in these digital lessons is designed to support not just some students, but all students. And for us, an important part of that is students feeling like they belong. So in designing our instructional materials, we focused on representing the racial and ethnic diversity found in classrooms across the country. And our digital lessons give us the unique opportunity to give all students the chance to see someone similar to themselves doing math and persevering through challenges. So you'll also notice that throughout our instructional resources, names and problem contexts are thoughtfully selected so that no one group is over or underrepresented within the context of a similar problem. So let's imagine that we finished the guided practice. We completed the whole video, and now we're going to jump into the last activity of the digital lesson, the independent practice. This is called the Tower of Power and acts as a digital exit ticket, a multi-level daily digital assessment where students have to show their understanding of the lesson before they can move on. So in the Tower of Power, students answer questions aligned to the guided practice. In this first couple of questions, it actually incorporates a review from the earlier lessons in the same topic. So I'm just going to go ahead and answer these correctly. One thing you may have noticed now that I've completed those questions is that my tracker over here on the right is filling up. Towers are structured in stages. So the lesson, this particular tower for this lesson has 4 stages. I just completed the first one, and now we'll move on to the next one. Each one gets a little more challenging with a little less scaffolding. Now that I'm in stage 2, I see a very familiar problem, one just like the one I had in guided practice, but this time without a supportive example. So let's say as I'm working through, I get a little confused, or I'm just working really quickly and I answer incorrectly. When I enter that answer, you can see I get really precise feedback and always a chance to try again. So I can focus in on my mistake and give it another shot. Let's say I still struggle though. When I enter this answer, I'm now going to be prompted to go into what's called a boost. And boosts are unique acceleration paths written to break down questions and scaffold understanding for students right when they struggle. So when I go into this boost, I'm invited to break down this question. So first, identifying the information I know from the problem. Here, the number of fish that will be in each bowl, which is 4. And now I have a chance to rebuild these fish bowls, but this time with a supportive example, just like I had when I was working through my guided practice video with the teacher. Once I complete that boost, I'm then invited back into the tower to try again on my own. And when I re-enter the tower, I get a new question with different names and often different numbers. This is my demo account, so you can imagine I use it quite a bit. But we generated a new name here. Usually there's also new numbers that are generated. And that's just to ensure that students can show true understanding of the tower and the lesson without just memorizing that boost. So if I continued working through this tower, I would use these fish bowls to create equal groups and then relate that to a multiplication and division equation and also write it in a sentence. And then the third and fourth stage, I'd move to using an array, just like we saw in the guided practice video. After students successfully complete all the stages of a tower of power, they would complete the lesson, which is when they earn a badge for the lesson, and move on to their next activity. But let's pause the digital lesson there. As we saw, digital lessons are designed to support students to both keep moving forward with grade level work, while also simultaneously closing gaps from prior years. So now that we've had a chance to dive into this digital lesson, let's take a look at all of the instructional materials that are available to support teachers and tutors and any adults who are facilitating math instruction during the summer. I'm now in my educator account, which is where I can access all the materials needed to facilitate math instruction aligned to the missions in the Summer Intensive Series. I'm showing grade 3 mission 1 right now, which is where I can find all the instructional materials and also access all the digital lessons for this mission. And there's a page like this for all missions in grades 1 through 5. We've heard from many of our partners that they're planning to use, I'll scroll down here for a moment, the whole group fluency and whole group word problems to support teachers as they facilitate math instruction this summer. And there are fluency activities for every lesson within each mission in this resource, as well as a word problem for every lesson in this resource. So just to show you this, the word problems in particular are a great way for any adult facilitating summer math to engage students in math discussion, use hands-on manipulatives, draw pictures, and share strategies, all aligned to the digital lessons that students would be completing. And there's a word problem for every lesson that includes notes about facilitating, as well as student work samples. If helpful, we also have a full daily lesson plan, again, aligned to the Eureka Math Teaks edition for instruction to support teachers and tutors. We also offer unit level professional development training to support student learning of key math concepts. Our curriculum study professional development is a comprehensive series with a session for every mission in kindergarten through 5th grade in our on-demand interactive video format. This summer, we're offering free access to curriculum study PD to all of our school account partners. So teachers within school accounts will have access to all professional development missions directly through their accounts. This PD is very flexible. It's meant for teams to engage in collaboratively, but teachers and tutors alike can also use the professional development videos to individually review key concepts and strategies to support their students. I want to take a look at a clip from the video that we have on word problems from grade 3 mission 1, which is where we saw our digital lesson together. So let's take a look.
Hi, in this video, we're going to continue to explore how the big idea of equal groups with friendly factors will come through every day in your whole group word problems. In mission 1, it can be really tempting for children to just multiply or divide the numbers they see in a problem. But word problems require more than just solving. Students will need to understand the meaning of the numbers, seeing the connection between the number of groups, size of the groups, and the total. During word problem time, students will be expected to slow down, visualize the problem, and see how the equal groups and the total come to life in their pictures and the stories. Let's dig in by solving a word problem from the beginning of the mission. Read and solve Lesson 5's word problem using a math picture. Consider the strategies your students may use as you solve this problem.
So throughout curriculum study, professional development, teachers and tutors and any adults engaging in summer math have the opportunity to solve problems from the mission so they can use strategies that their kids will use. And then they analyze sample student work from that same problem.
Early in the mission, many student solutions will show a very concrete drawing. Some students may solve by putting one tally in each group until they reach 18 total. Other students may use the array that they also learn in Topic A. In students' drawings and discussion, we want to look for an understanding of the size of the groups, the number of groups, and the total. In this story.
So one of our core learning principles is grounding problem solving in visualization, so students build accurate and flexible problem solving skills. So throughout curriculum study PD, we emphasize the importance of word problem work, focusing on strategies, representations, and different ways to solve. And throughout curriculum study PD, participants have opportunities to visualize and solve problems, come together if they're engaging as a team, and share expertise with one another, and then see a student work sample to help plan for the range of student needs that they'll have. This is a great way to understand what might be tricky for students as they encounter challenging problems. Teachers and tutors can use the word problems video from each curriculum study session to examine application work for each mission. So now that we've oriented to a digital lesson and our instructional resources a bit, let's talk through how schools and districts are leveraging our summer intensive series. I know from my experience as a principal, I would see the 12-week summer program and wonder how I can make it work for my school or our specific structure. Summer school sometimes isn't 12 weeks. Most times it's closer to 4 or 5 weeks. So with that in mind, I want to share some example models that some of our partner schools and districts have developed to really showcase the flexibility of the series for any summer program. So jumping back into our slides here. The first model is a fairly traditional summer school, either fully in person or hybrid environment with summer mode instruction. The length of this program can vary. Schools and districts structure it with a 60 to 90 minute math block every day. 30 to 45 minutes are for completing digital lessons, and the other 30 to 45 minutes are students working in small groups with a tutor or teacher on word problems or possibly the concept development from that module and mission that they're working on in the digital lessons. For shorter programs in the 4 to 6 week range, schools and districts are starting with the first priority mission for each grade and continuing to cover as much as they can in order to, in the order of the grade level series for the duration of the program. A second model is for schools and districts that don't have an in-school program this summer, or possibly have both an in-school and out-of-school summer option and need an approach for both. In an out-of-school model, students are completing Zearn Math independent digital lessons at home or outside of school asynchronously. And districts and schools send students home over the summer with Zearn Math logins, and the students' current teachers assign them to the first lesson in the first prioritized mission. After successfully completing lessons in the mission, students automatically progress to the next lesson in the mission. So to complete all lessons in the priority missions, students should complete 4 digital lessons per week. Parents and caregivers should support students in working to meet the goal of completing 4 digital lessons per week, which will take approximately 120 minutes total. And in addition to helping students log into Zearn.org, parents and caregivers can support learning by using tips available on Zearn Math Instagram and Facebook, as well as lots of printable tips in our Zearn helpers that we have. So you can find more information about this, jumping back in here, on our summer math series and lots of other things about summer on our summer math webpage, which is what I'm showing now. We have a comprehensive PDF that outlines and provides detailed information on the prioritized missions for each grade level. And it's specific to Zearn Math for Texas. So I'm showing that PDF now. We also have specific grade level web pages that highlight each mission and provide a description and visual of the essential content. So here you can see, I'm showing the grade 5 page. The first prioritized mission of the grade 5 summer series for rising 6th graders is mission 2, where students apply their understanding of base 10 and properties of operations to solve more sophisticated problems with whole numbers and decimals. All the materials for daily instruction, including digital lessons and all the instructional resources, are available to teachers in a free individual account. To support school and district level usage, including rostering support, access to district level reports, additional intervention supports and PD resources, as well as implementation support and training, we offer what we call school accounts. And if you're interested in purchasing a school account, please visit our website and submit an inquiry form, or just reach out to us directly at info@zearn.org. So with that, I want to just say thank you again for your time today. We're so thrilled to have been able to share this with you, and we're here to support you as you help students efficiently catch up while moving forward in their grade level learning, both for the summer and into the 21-22 school year. So I'll go ahead and stop sharing, come back on.
Thanks, Corinne. A number of questions did come in while you were presenting, so I was going to go ahead and walk through those. Brian, anything you want me to do before we jump into questions?
I don't think so. Yeah, let's jump on in.
Perfect. So a couple questions came in around access or being able to participate, or how this overlaps or connects to the CRIMSI pilot. So let me talk about that, which I think just follows up on something Corinne just mentioned a moment ago. So there are the two types of accounts on Zearn. There are the individual accounts that students can, or teachers, or really any adult can sign up for. And that provides access to all of the essential content so that you could use for something like your summer series. In addition to that, there are school accounts which schools or districts can purchase. And those are really designed to both support full implementation, including rostering support, training, multiple layers of reports, particularly at the school or district level, and then some additional premium features that have kind of additional resources for teachers. Those are kind of the two options for using Zearn. Zearn isn't something that is available through the state as part of the pilot. It is something that districts and schools can choose to either purchase or use through individual accounts on their own. But of course, it is kind of it is a resource that is being quote advertised as part of the CRIMSI process. But again, it's not a provided resource. That said, it can be accessed for free. So kind of multiple ways that you can think about using Zearn. Can you roster your district without a purchase? Kind of a similar related question there. You could roster your district in that individual teachers could individually roster their own students, but there is not a way to roster at a district level using something like an automated rostering tool like Clever, or even just a spreadsheet rostering process at the district level where admin have access at the district and school level without a school account. So individual accounts are specific to one teacher and up to 35 students with one class. If you have anything beyond that that you'd like support with rostering or just support with using, then that's where we would encourage using a school account, and that is where the district or school would purchase and again be able to roster at the school or district level through things like Clever or through our support team's support in setting up a spreadsheet roster process. Okay, so hopefully that answers some of the questions on just ways to start accessing Zearn, or whether it's a required purchase or it's available through other formats. I'll look for other questions on that as they come in. In terms of cost, thank you, good question. It is a school-based license, so schools or districts can purchase at the school level, and a school is kind of a traditional school. If you're planning to use for summer and may not have kind of traditional school-based setup, that's something where we're happy to work with you all on what would make the most sense in terms of the number of licenses required. Again, given that you may not have a license for every traditional school for summer. But the traditional school-based licensing is $2,500 for the school. It's for an unlimited number of staff and students. And please keep in mind that that is a license that runs throughout the entire year. So it is something that you would have access to both for the summer purposes, and then we would continue rostering and providing support through all of next year. Of course, as a digital companion, Zearn works great for summer, but it also works as a excellent ongoing instructional digital companion to Eureka Mathematics Edition throughout the year. If you have more questions on estimated cost or setting up licenses, I'm going to put an email in the chat, which is a great email to use to reach out to us. And we are happy to find a time to connect with you all, talk specifically about your individual setup, talk about a proposal or a quote, however we can be helpful to your planning. So I put that email in the chat. It's info@zearn.org, hopefully nice and simple. I did see there was a question that came in on kindergarten, and I'm just going to, I know Corinne wrote an answer to that, but I'm going to also just say it out loud just in case other folks have that question as well. So what we looked at today, that digital sequence, the digital lesson structure where there are multiple components of the digital lesson and students work through that. That is specific for grades 1 to 5. And as you might have noticed, because of all the components, those digital lessons take about 30 minutes for students to complete. Kindergarten does have content as well, although it does look quite a bit different just based on the developmental needs for younger learners. So in kindergarten, K digital activities are about 10 minutes each. They're designed to build foundational number sense skills and focus on the core learnings of kindergarten. They use the same models and vocabularies as teachers would be doing. Within kindergarten, there's about 170 digital activities. Again, they're designed for more of a younger student in mind. So they have a bit more of a game-like feel. And again, they're shorter, they're about 10 minutes each. We just know kindergarten students don't have the stamina to work independently for a full 30-minute lesson. And usually K classrooms are not set up for a 30-minute independent block in either way. The digital activities are grouped. If you log into a Zearn account or sign up for one, you'll notice that the kindergarten activities are grouped by number ranges. So numbers to 5, 10, 15, and 20. And again, they can still be used, even though they're not the full lesson sequence as it is in grades 1 to 5, they can still be used as a really important digital companion alongside teacher instruction and provide critical support for students in both building stamina to work independently while emphasizing some of those critical skills such as number sense, sequencing, composition and decomposition, counting all, and gradually moving to counting on so that they're ready for first grade. So again, even for rising first graders, those K activities can be a great summer resource and a great digital companion going into next year. Okay, there were a couple more questions. I know Corinne answered them, but again, I'm just going to check to make sure if any of them make sense to say out loud. So I see 2 questions related to using Zearn as part of a bilingual program or what's available in Spanish. So Zearn has kind of 2 components, as Corinne highlighted. There are the digital lessons, and then there are a number of resources that teachers can use for leading instruction or paper-based resources that students can use, such as problem sets or student notes or exit tickets. Zearn will offer in Spanish all of the teacher instructional materials, as well as those student paper materials, so problem sets, exit tickets, etc. Those will be available in Spanish for the upcoming year. So that is one component that you could use, although keep in mind, a number of those resources overlap with the Spanish versions you have from Eureka Mathematics Edition. So just to be clear, there is that overlap in those resources. The digital lessons are currently in English only. We do have a lot of districts who end up using the digital lessons in English as a part of a bilingual or dual language setup where teachers are leading instruction in Spanish and then having students use the digital lessons as an English companion to that so that students are essentially engaging with every lesson in both languages. And so it can be a really nice component to a bilingual program. The digital lessons themselves are designed to support English language learners in general. So you'll see a really heavy emphasis on visualization, on drawing a picture to solve a problem, really careful uses of language, no jargon, really strong focus on terminology and really amplifying the language in the math rather than assuming students can do all of the math directly in English. So the digital lessons are English only, although again, there are many supports built in to support English language learners. Carolina or Corinne, while I'm talking, why don't you grab the webinar for English language supports and throw that in the chat so that they could, if anyone folks are interested in watching that webinar, they would have that. Again, that'll give you a little bit of background on how the digital lessons do support using in a bilingual program. Specifically, the CC is for closed caption. You might have noticed that when that pops up, the text that the teacher is saying is shown on the screen. But there is not a way in Zearn to have that text translated into Spanish, although we do have a number of partners who use additional plugins like Speak Now, where students can highlight text and have that read in an alternative language. So there are some options for translating some of the digital lesson components into Spanish. We will make all of those digital lessons again in Spanish, but that will be a rebuild of all of the digital lessons. We're not going to do kind of a robotic translation of that. We're going to make sure that we do it correctly and do a full rebuild where all of the lessons are actually re-recorded and recreated in a full Spanish translation. Okay. Can the speed of the video be adjusted? There's no way to slow down the video necessarily, although again, the video is designed specifically to go at a speed that is designed for accessibility, both for English language learners, but for really any learning need. But students can always rewind and replay. So students can always go back and replay the video if they need to hear that language or the specific component or text again. Okay, I know I talked quickly. That is a tendency I have. I hope I answered those questions sufficiently. If there are more questions on any of those topics, again, so how Zearn can be used as part of a bilingual program, setting up Zearn either at the school level or creating an individual account, Zearn for kindergarten, please let us know either in the chat or in the Q&A, or if there are other topics that we haven't covered yet that you'd like more information on, now is a great time. We're happy to answer additional questions.
Additionally, I'm going to pop in a link to the Crimsy webpage on Texas Home Learning in case you're interested more in Crimsy. Reminder there, Crimsy is completely optional. You can do Texas Home Learning products and use Texas Home Learning products without going the Crimsy route. It's kind of an additional support system for Crimsy or for Texas Home Learning.
I see another, okay, there's a chat. For those who feel like they have the information they need, if you want to jump, we have covered the content on our end. So at this point, we are just here for additional questions. If you don't have any other questions and want to get a few minutes back, please feel free to drop off. Otherwise, we'll stay on until folks have kind of all left the building and let us know that there are no additional questions. Again, if you have more questions and don't feel like this is the right format for them, please feel free to email us at that info@zearn.org. Our team monitors that email around the clock. We are more than happy to jump on a call or a webinar with you or your team to talk through any additional questions, to do further demos, however we can be helpful as you plan for summer and for the next academic year. Awesome, Brian. I don't see any other questions at this point. Feel free to either end the webinar. We're happy to stay on for the additional 12 minutes or whatever works best for you guys.
Yeah, I think we're good. I think we'll end it. Thank you for the remaining folks on the call. And thank you, Ashley, Corinne, Carolina, for your time here.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.
All right, bye.
Bye.